therapeutic rituals are going to be things that integrate both mind, body, and spirit. So during therapeutic practice, we're going to talk about the past. We're going to delve into maladaptive behaviors and thought patterns. That's kind of the mind piece. The body piece is then communicating with the body that we are safe in this moment, because the mind can logic its way through thinking, yes, now I am safe. It's fine. I shouldn't be anxious, but the body still might feel anxious because of patterns from the past. So we communicate with the body. And then there's the spirit piece, which I think is really lost to a lot of people. And that's communicating with the unconscious through symbol sets, through breath work, through intention setting, and almost artistic ways. So again, using symbols as a way to communicate with the unconscious mind.
Welcome to the Mindful Introvert podcast. I'm Joe, your guide from mindfulintrovert.com, on a mission to inspire and empower you. As an inner peace and abundance coach, I'll help you slow down, trust your intuition, and explore spirituality for a more peaceful life. Ready to be empowered? Let's dive into today's episode and embark on your journey to self-discovery and fulfillment. I am very excited to introduce to you my guest today, Chrissie. She's a versatile therapist, yoga, and meditation instructor. With a master's degree in mental health counseling and over a decade of yoga teaching experience, she harmonizes therapy, yoga, and movement arts to help individuals find joy, harmony, and meaning. Her company, Omni Temple, offers one-to-one therapeutic coaching, wellness group programs, non-denominational rituals, and immersive events for those looking to cultivate magic in their lives. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Mindful Introvert podcast. And today I have another special guest with me. I have Chrissie Bingham. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Of course. Very excited to be here.
Yeah. So, would you like to tell everyone about you?
Yeah, sure. So I am a practicing therapist. I've also been teaching yoga and meditation for 10 years. So I've really learned that just talk therapy and medication really brings my clients to a point, but I wanted to help them further and kind of deepen their excitement and zest for life. And so I've started to integrate mindfulness, yoga, ritual into the practice to help really create some magic in people's lives.
Yes, we all need some magic. And tell me more about these rituals. What does this mean for this therapeutic side of things?
Sure. So therapeutic rituals, I mean, anything can be a ritual. So the word ritual is a bit charged. People will
Mhm.
automatically think of religious dogma, um, very stringent rules, things like that. Whereas ritual is just a repetitious action that has an intention that we do consistently until we find results.
Mhm.
So brushing your teeth can be a ritual if done with intention.
Mhm.
So, therapeutic rituals are going to be things that integrate both mind, body, and spirit. So, during therapeutic practice, we're going to talk about the past. We're going to delve into maladaptive behaviors and thought patterns. That's kind of the mind piece. The body piece is then communicating with the body that we are safe in this moment, because the mind can logic its way through thinking, yes, now I am safe. It's fine. I shouldn't be anxious, but the body still might feel anxious because of patterns from the past. So we communicate with the body. And then there's the spirit piece, which I think is really lost to a lot of people. And that's communicating with the unconscious through symbol sets, through breath work, through intention setting, and almost artistic ways. So again, using symbols as a way to communicate with the unconscious mind.
Yes, very holistic approach, definitely. I think more and more people are finding that that is the best approach to have. Even in conventional medicine, people are realizing we need to personalize it, and definitely amazing work that you're creating there. And you mentioned breath work, and I have done it, and it has been wonders for me, both more of a masculine energy breath work and a more feminine energy breath work. So for those of us, for those listening that are not aware what the hell is breath work, You mind explaining a little bit of that and the type of breath work you do?
Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, there's so much breath work. So again, I teach yoga. So a big aspect of yoga is pranayama or breath work. And so prana is the energy within our body. And so it's our way of breathing in the energy, letting it flow through our body, and we can manipulate how we breathe to get different results. And so you mentioned like the masculine form of breathing, which would be like fire breath. So
Mhm.
taking in a lots of oxygen, hyperoxygenating our bodies to get more energy, whereas more of a feminine side is going to be slowing down the breath, creating space between the breaths to choose how we want to interact with the world. That's one of my favorite ways to connect my clients with their body and with their spirit is through breath. So, one of the most helpful breathing techniques I found for my clients is either a box breath or really just hovering in that space between. We're taking just as much time to breathe as we are to pause. And that pause just gives us the opportunity to pause and choose. Yes, in this moment, I want to be peaceful. In this moment, I want to react with love and compassion. So I'm not going to just react out of instinct or out of patterning. That pause gives us the opportunity really to just choose the reality we live in from moment to moment.
Yeah, no, that's great. Great explanation. And yes, I feel like knowing both types or all the types of breath work there are can be very interesting. So you can really choose the any given moment what you want. And definitely if it's nighttime and you want to relax, you're not going to be doing a more active type of breathing for sure. So it seems like very interesting to have all of those tools in your toolbox for sure. So what led you here? What led you to start this journey? What got you to start it?
Yeah. Sure. So, growing up, I had a wonderful childhood full of magic, just running around the woods, pretending. My imagination was always huge and dreamed really big. And as I grew, I kind of realized that I was very lucky to have
Mhm.
such a childhood. And so I wanted to help other people feel that magic, feel that sense of freedom that you can create just by your imagination. And so that led me into studying psychology as well as spiritualities and world religions.
Mhm.
And I wanted to find the oldest one. I wanted to find what is the oldest religion? What is so deep in everyone's DNA that brings us together that we can all almost agree upon? And so, looking at different religions, there's so many common threads, many of them being we're love. We are love. We
Mhm.
come from love. We come from the same place. We are not just our thoughts or just our body. We're something much greater. So that's
Mhm.
where my company, Omni Temple, that's where it's got its name. Omni being
Mhm.
everything, all of it. All religions have some wisdom. And so let's find the common threads. And if we can agree on those and practice those together, we're going to create a more beautiful world.
Mhm.
So, childhood was magical, wanted to help people through psychology and religion. That brought me to yoga and meditation, was kind of the easiest inroad, it was the most available to me
Mhm.
at that point. And so, I became a yoga teacher, went through my yoga teacher training. And just in doing that, like that is a ritual. The matching your breath with your movements, the act of mindfulness and staying present. So, when you're doing yoga, you're so focused on bodily movement and breath everything else melts away. You're
Mhm.
fully in flow. Um, that really led me to performing arts. And so I was a fire dancer, I was an acrobat for 5 years, which really helped me think of the world in metaphors and in symbols. So
Mhm.
using that artistic side to relate to the unconscious mind. So combining all those things together has brought me here.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so, so cool. Such a cool journey. And it's very refreshing to hear you say that you've had a good childhood and that you just wanted to bring that magic onto people's lives. Um, because nowadays I feel like we're almost like exposing so much toxicity we have in our lives. And it's almost like for someone to say, you know what, I had an amazing childhood. It's almost like abnormal type of thing. So it's very refreshing to hear you say that and hear that you want to share that light with everyone else, and you want everyone to experience the level of imagination and creativity that you had for yourself as well. So that's super cool. Thank you for doing that work.
Or
Yes, yes. And so how would you um because usually the level of therapy that is most conventional, right? Or you're a therapist. People when they are looking for that type of thing, maybe usually, I don't know, you'll tell me, maybe they are not so aware of this whole holistic side of things and this ritualistic side. So how do they actually just come to you, or do you introduce that to them? How does that work?
Sure. So there's a couple different inroads. So I mean, Jungian psychology is one big inroad. So Jung is an incredible and very esoteric practitioner. So some people have heard of Jung. They want that type of therapy. They'll find me through that. A lot of people find me through yoga and meditation
Mm-hmm.
first. And then they want that science-backed counseling aspect. So that's one of the reasons why I got my master's and really went into therapy because I kind of wanted to prove to myself and others that the meditation practice, the yoga, the holistic side is science based, the breath work,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff. And there's really incredible research saying that it is. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think there's a little bit of fear in the counseling or therapy community
Mm-hmm.
to go in that direction. We're beholden to insurance companies, of course, and because of that, there's two sides of what I do. There's counseling and then there's coaching. So the counseling is going to be more past based. It's going to be more focused on mental health issues, coping skills, CBT skills, things like that. As a coach, I get to be more forward thinking with my clients. What are your goals? How do we integrate holistic practices to get you towards those goals?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Or integrating those holistic practices to get towards those goals. Amazing. And so, how would you deal with someone, or how would you guide and help someone that has been going on a journey to really become more authentically themselves, show up more comfortably and more? Maybe they don't know exactly who they are, or they just want to, or maybe they know who they are, but they don't feel like they can actually show up fully like that. What would you do around this?
Yeah, sure. So, when I'm doing one-on-one coaching, I bring my clients through what I call journeys, and those are just different scaffoldings depending on people's timeline, their budget, and what their goals are. And so, an example of these journeys is the elemental journey. So we have earth, air, fire, water, spirit. These are different ways we can interact with the outside world as well as the internal world. So when we're focusing on earth, we might go through grounding practices, meditations that are more embodied, so physical. Um, I'd have them think about things a little bit more um, uh, mythologically or esoterically. So if we're doing a meditation and I have them um, visualize their safe, calm place. Maybe it's a forest, maybe it's a mountaintop. Have their mind paint in the different images. Are there animals at this forest? Are there plants? What colors are the plants? These are all things that we can then analyze kind of through like dream work with Jungian dream work. So we can take those little pieces, we can analyze what does the squirrel that showed up mean to you? Oh, it's
Mm,
playful. Oh, it has a family. These are all things that the unconscious mind are maybe calling into your life.
mhm,
So does that feel right for you as a client? Does that feel right? Like, oh yeah, I want more playfulness in my life. That does feel right. Okay, from there, let's figure out different ways we can activate some playfulness. Um, and so playfulness might look like dancing more. With some of my clients, after a really heavy session, I'll put aside 5 minutes at the end. They play their favorite music. We're face away from each other, so there's no judgment, and we just dance around, getting into our body, out of our mind, and expelling that energy. Yeah, there's so many ways to play with the mind, and that's what I
mhm.
want to introduce to my clients.
Yes, I love that. That sounds like fun. I want
Yeah.
some squirrel in my life.
Yeah.
Yes. And what would you, because all of this that we're talking about, it feels like we you need to work with a lot of open-minded people, because I don't think people are used to, or it's not very present in people's lives, to this idea of the symbols and the
Yeah.
unconscious mind.
Mhm.
So maybe for someone that is not too aligned, not aligned, because I guess everyone is aligned in some way. Maybe they're just not aware uh,
Right.
of the unconscious mind and the
Or they
symbol.
were told it was wrong. So many people
Mm,
growing up when they're kids, they're told that their imagination, oh, it's just pretend. That's not real. That's not important. And so they lose this, but everyone is born with that ability. So it's
yeah,
just reintroducing them to their inner child because the inner child has a lot to teach us. And
yeah.
so good inroads for people who maybe don't have that open of a mind or completely new to any of these experiences are going to look more like classical coaching. So it'll
Mm,
be like worksheets, it'll maybe look like CBT practices. Breath work is actually a really, really good one. We all breathe. And I can guide anyone to breathe faster or slower or integrate these different practices into their lives. And then
mhm,
once they have that experience of I was breathing and I was finally relaxed, it's the first time that I've felt relaxed in weeks. There's
mm,
something to this. Okay. Maybe I'll tell my therapist next time, like when I was breathing, like for some reason I was thinking of a waterfall. Let's talk
mm.
about the waterfall. Why did a waterfall come up to you? What does that mean to you? Yeah, that's the inroad.
Yes, I like that. I like it's just easing into it and bringing out that curiosity that is very childlike as well. And I think we all need to be a little bit more childlike.
Yes. Yeah, I think we're all taking ourselves a little too seriously a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely.
we're inundated with information constantly, with expectations. We're always feel like we're on display because of social media, and so to allow someone for at least an hour a week to let their guard down and
Mhm.
play and interact with themselves in a new way can be life changing.
Yes, for sure. So, how would you say these goals? Because I can understand how it works very good in a healing practice. But how would you say if someone wants to work towards a certain goal, how would this help them, motivate them, and get whatever resources they need?
Sure. So, one interesting way to think about it is the chakra system. And so, like, you can't, it's very difficult to move up the chakra system to focus on these different energy points without dealing with the one below it. And
Mm,
so the first thing is like, so root chakra, feel like getting them to feel safe. I feel safe in my body. I have I have food, I have water, I have all of those things that make me feel secure. You can't really go anywhere else until
mm,
those things are present. So getting them to that point first, and then we can move up the energetic systems. From there is creativity, and so there's a lot of fun things we can do with the
mhm,
sacral chakra. So that's just one example. Um, Everything goals come to you through incremental steps. I think a lot of people overwhelm themselves thinking they have to take a big chunk out of it. They have massive to-do lists.
mm,
There's a lot of negative self-talk if they feel like they're not enough or not driving towards this big change. The real key is patience.
mm.
Patience with yourself and being great, having grace for yourself and where you're
Yeah.
at. So just putting an alarm on your phone to drink water, like great
Oh,
step.
let me drink
That
some
is,
water.
there you go. Yes,
That's my alarm. Everyone at home, drink water.
yes, drink water, tail hydrate. Yeah, so incremental steps like drinking water. I always tend to start with my clients with a mindful morning practice. What does your
Mm,
ideal morning look like? And that could it could be 5 minutes because there's parents out there, there's incredibly busy people. So asking them to, oh, just wake up an hour earlier than you already do,
mm.
like that's not, you'll get there eventually because you'll really like your morning practice and you'll want more of it. But can you
Yeah.
wake up 5 minutes earlier, light a candle, and listen to your breath for 5 minutes? Then go do your day. And from those incremental changes, magic occurs.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because especially that would be my next question, because I feel like a lot of people, they have a lot of excuses they are masked and loaded excuses because they say I don't have time, I don't have energy, blah blah blah. And I get it because it's just a way to, it's almost self-preservation. It's
Mhm.
almost like I don't want it to go even worse, so I'm not going to take more time for
Yeah.
anything because I just cannot fit it in. So the fact that you said just 5 minutes, yeah, everyone has 5 minutes
Mhm.
and is incremental little steps. I think that is a very good approach to have.
Mhm.
And focusing on the ideal scenario, because it's like, what is your ideal morning look like? What do you want? And then baby steps towards it. And that releases the pressure of having this accomplished, amazing 1 hour long routine that no one can really sustain for long periods of time. So,
And it's crafting it with joy. Like if it's not joyful for you, why are you doing it?
yeah,
They're like not saying that some of these practices aren't difficult. Exercise is difficult, but if you can exercise with joy, if you can dance instead of torturing yourself on a treadmill, that sounds like
yeah,
a better option to me. If you go on a walk into a beautiful park rather than other practices that maybe aren't as joyful. So it's showing people they have options. They have
yeah,
options of what their ideal morning could look like. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's. What
yeah.
feels good in your body at that moment, and starting with intention. So, what is the
Mhm.
intention for my day? That could be that's it. That's the practice. So, I've had the intention, move about my day. Maybe I write that intention down on my refrigerator. So every time I get a snack, I'm like, oh, wait, I wanted to have joy today. What could I do next to craft some joy?
Yeah. Yeah, intention. I think that's why the why is so important. What is the purpose? What is the intention behind it? Because, and that's actually how I shifted my idea of going to the gym and feeling that pain of the gym, of the exercise. And I've really significant, I don't even know the word in English. I gave it another meaning, right?
Mhm.
Of this pain, it's helping me release anxiety, is helping me sleep better at night, and it's so much good and better for my mental health. And it's not just because I want to look good, because if it
Right.
is just because I want to look good, it's not strong enough
Yeah.
for me to continue and create a ritual, as you were saying, out of it. So
Yeah.
it's really understanding why I want to do it, and the benefits that it brings to my life. And
And the
that helps
energy that
create.
you bring to it. Like, am I
Yes.
going to go to the gym grumpy or am I going to put
Mhm.
on music that makes me feel sexy? Am I going to like bring that main character energy into the gym with me? Just that switch, that reframe is going to make you feel joyful when you're at the gym.
Yes, 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 definitely. Now that you think about it, I always put on this music, this song that I like, and I always blast it like full blast. Everyone must be looking at me funny. I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
just living my best life, going out of the gym.
Yeah. Same.
So it's really, but it takes a conscious shift. I think, yes, it takes what you're meaning, that embodiment and that grounding, but I think it takes a conscious intention of I want to change my behavior. I want to change my attitudes towards things. Um,
Yeah. The,
so
the
it's like a,
embodiment.
yeah.
Embodiments, the like that's the key word in everything you were just saying. Like, how do I, so my intention is joy that day. How do I embody joy?
Mhm.
There's a term called resourcing where in EMDR where I can resource a fictional character or even a god or even an animal. So what animal represents joy to me? A rabbit represents joy. How can I embody the energy of a rabbit? How can I be more playful and joyful? Embodiment, bringing it into your body, is the way to communicate with the unconscious mind that this is my now my
Mhm.
reality. I have the reality of joy of a
Yeah.
rabbit.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned EMDR. For those that don't know, do you want to
Yeah.
explain a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah. So this is a therapeutic technique that's it's actually a somatic practice. So it's again using the body to help people process their traumas. So essentially, people when they move through traumas, It's like your brain can't digest the trauma. The memory is filed incorrectly in your mind, and so
Mhm.
EMDR is using bilateral stimulation. So either moving your eyes, so you'd follow my fingers as we're moving through this, or you would tap on your shoulders. To keep you in the here and now. This
Mm.
stops you from really reliving the trauma. It's anchoring you in the here and now as we process traumatic events so that your mind can digest the information or refile it in a correct way so that these traumas are not in the forefront of your mind. So you're less triggerable. So it's a really popular type of therapy for people with PTSD or acute traumas.
Yeah. Is that what havening is as well?
I haven't heard of havening. It's similar
No?
to, I've heard brain spotting is quite similar. I haven't heard of havening.
Okay, havening is just a technique that I people go like that.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
it's just it's very
this
soothing.
this movement is a bilateral stimulation. So my right side is touching my left side is touching my right side. So it's
Uh-huh.
integrating different pathways in the brain.
Uh-huh.
I can see this. I mean, it's an embodiment practice. This could be a
Yeah.
somatic movement that would be therapeutic for people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For those that are not watching the video, we were basically like, how do I explain this without? It's
Giving
literally,
ourselves a hug and then
yeah.
rubbing our own arms in a cuddly and
Yeah.
joyful.
Yes, that. So it's very soothing practice, and I don't know, it creates a lot of safety. But yeah, I like that we have so many techniques that people can just try. If it doesn't
Yeah.
work for them, they don't have to try it again.
Mhm.
So that's just very, very nice to experience.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we
yeah.
all have our own journeys and our own paths. And so I think that you'll find a healing technique that works for you. If breathing isn't your thing, especially so breathing can be really difficult for people with acute traumas because they
Mm,
don't feel safe in the body. So meditating can be very painful for a lot of
mm,
people. For those type of people, I say no, dancing, yoga, things where you're moving and have to use more of your brain rather than sitting and thinking about your brain. Yeah, everyone will have their own practice. It's
yes,
just
yes,
as
yes,
a
yes.
therapist or as a coach, it's my job to introduce you to a bunch of them and see which ones work for you.
Yeah. No, I think that is very important disclaimer you just said, because I feel like a lot of people feel they try to meditate and then it doesn't work for them, or sometimes they become even more activated, even more anxious and stressed because they feel like somehow they're inadequate for that technique that's it's supposedly so simple, right? Just sit there. And I think that, yeah, formal meditation doesn't have to work for everyone. You can have a more active, moving type of meditation, going for hikes, going for a nice swim. That can be definitely more adequate for some people. And
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with that. Thank God we're all different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes the world more beautiful.
Yes, for sure. So maybe what would be so we already talked a lot about embodiments, techniques, embodiment tools, and someone that is a little bit more rational. I mean,
Yeah.
I heard you talk about some worksheets, but maybe someone that is more rational, more cognitive, and doesn't like, not so much that they have anxiety and they don't feel like it's safe in their body, but they just prefer to sit in the mind.
Yeah. Sure.
How would you help them?
Sure. So there's two ways to answer that. My first instinct as a therapist is that if they prefer to sit in the mind, I would probably push them to be in their body more.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, usually with healing practices, the thing you don't like is what's helping you the most, which is so frustrating.
Yes.
So that is one way to go through it. But if someone's super resistant, if they don't feel safe enough to be in their body, that's fine. We're going to meet them where they are. And so, I mean, first coming from a person-centered perspective, letting them kind of lead the conversation and see if they are more future-oriented or more past-oriented.
Mm,
If they're more past oriented, I'm going to use more counseling tools. It'll look more like a classic counseling relationship with, like I said, CBT worksheets or just doing parts work can be really helpful for people. Whereas if I'm coaching, if they're more future oriented, that's going to be things like goal setting. So, what
Mm.
is your goal? Breaking those down into little goals so that it's not as overwhelming for that person.
Mhm.
There's a technique called functional imagery where you can imagine your future. You're imagining the ways that your ideal way to get to that goal. You're imagining the obstacles that might come against you. You're imagining how you're going to deal with those obstacles. Thinking about ways that have helped you in the past. How do we pull those lessons into the future so you can apply those things now? Those are going to be more head based. And so, one of the reasons why I like my elemental health program is that earth, air, fire, water. So, that person I'd say is very earth. They're grounded. They're very physical. They want to see the results in their logical mind. Whereas someone maybe is more emotional, they're going to be a more water person. So, um, bringing people through all five elements, introducing them to all five ways that they can interact with the unconscious mind, opens their mind to different perspectives.
Yes. No, I love that. Yeah. Yeah, definitely a very good approach for sure. So tell us more about your business. What
Yeah.
do you offer? Tell us more.
Yeah, so I do the one-on-one coaching. I also run wellness programs, and so the next one coming up is called Elemental Health Online. We meet weekly, and it's a 5-month program where we get to really create a community that helps each other, that holds each other accountable for their healing goals, which is a big aspect of why I love this program. Each month represents one element, and then during each month, we go through 4 different practices. So the first week is going to be more coaching, so psychological tools, skills, more those worksheets, things like that. The second practice is going to be meditation practice inspired by the element we're working with. The third week is going to be yogic and chakra work. So I'll introduce the chakra system, what it feels like to be balanced in those chakras, what it feels like to have too much energy or not enough energy in those centers, and then we'll move through yoga together. And then the fourth week is a elemental ritual, so bringing that artistic, symbolic, kind of playful piece into it. And my goal with all of my programs really is to give people enough tools so that they can create their own wellness rituals. So they can say, okay, what do I want my mornings to look like? These are the practices that worked for me that I want to integrate into my life. This is my goal for this year. These are the practices that really helped me. How can I integrate those practices to go towards my goal?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have
Yes.
programs, we have one-on-one, and then there's also an artistic performance aspect to Omni Temple. So we bring rituals to um, places where people gather. So if there's a concert or event or a festival, we'll bring intentional rituals to those spaces. Because there's so much energy and like
Mm-hmm.
community in those spaces, bringing some intentionality to it can really help ground people in those spaces and maybe stop them from overindulging too much when it comes to all of these events. Like, let's bring some intentionality to why we gather again.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that is amazing. And how can people, what's your website? How can people
Yeah.
connect with you?
Sure. So my company is called Omni Temple. My website is omni-temple.com. And right now we are running a free one-on-one therapeutic coaching session for anyone who signs up for our newsletter. So you can get to know me on a one-on-one basis. I can get to know you and see if what I offer aligns with your needs.
Mhm.
Um, so that's the best way, really, to
Yeah.
see what I do.
Amazing. I'll leave everything in the show notes for everyone that is super connected and interested in your work to reach out and submit that and join your newsletter and have that amazing one-to-one with you. What would you say as like maybe 3 takeaways for today's conversation that people can just start taking action and feel more empowered in their journey?
Sure. So creating space between your breaths. So taking a moment to pause and choose, how do I want to react in this moment from stimulus to stimulus? How do I want to show up in this moment? That's going to change your entire life if you do it enough. Setting intentions for the cycles of life. So, not just what is my intention for the day, what is my intention this season, what is my intention for the whole year, and then get back into your body. All of us are, including myself, can be very, very
Mhm.
heavy minded. So take a walk, reconnect with nature, feel the grass beneath you, and take that time to breathe and come back into your body because it has so much wisdom to share with you.
Yes, like you just shared with us. Thank you so much for your wisdom. I really enjoyed this conversation. And people that are listening and watching, they don't know, but before I hit record, I was just super jittery and stressed. I just had coffee, and now I'm nice and relaxed. I'm grounded from your energy. So thank you so much for
Of
sharing your
course.
energy with me, with everyone that is going to listen to this awesome episode, and the wisdom that you shared. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye, see you all in the next episode. Bye. If you are fully committed to your growth, I invite you to book a free inner peace assessment call with me to create an action plan to manifest a life worth living with more inner peace and self love. For more inspiring content, follow me on Instagram at Coach Joanna Calado and subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Intuitive Being. I will leave everything in the show notes so that you do not miss a thing. I'll see you on the next episode, and until then, slow down and trust yourself.